video training module on how to start a consulting firm. If you're a consultant and you want to start a consulting firm, or if you've been working in a corporation, you have some technical expertise, and you want to become a consultant, you'll find this video very valuable. There's multiple books written on this topic, so I'm not going to go through and read whole books out loud. What I want to do is provide some unique advice based on how I've started my own consulting firms in the past, based on how I've worked at small and fast-growing consulting firms and seen how they gain their first clients, and kind of hearing about the history and stories about how they started their consulting firms. I thought that might be interesting. I'm just going to provide you some bullet point type advice to kind of supplement all of the other material that's out there on this subject. The first tip is that most people start a consulting firm by getting 1 or 2 lead clients. These are clients which know your work, they trust you, they've known you for a long time, they're relatively stable, long-term clients, so that at the worst case, if you start your consulting firm, if you have these 1 or 2 lead clients, you know you could pay your bills, get by, and live off of that for a year or 2 while you're getting your other clients, figuring out your service model, figuring out who you're going to work with, who your target market is, and how you can deliver it to them and at what rates. That can take a year or 2 or 3 to figure out and just learn the basics of. So it's really important to have a lead client or 2, so that when you launch, you have something you're operating on, you can tell clients who you're currently working with. If you're not working with anybody, it's make you seem like a really, not in-demand consultant, and that's definitely not a good thing. Second, most people start out charging lower rates and move to higher. That might also seem obvious, but it can be very tempting to say, well, my knowledge is worth at least $200 an hour, or at least $100 an hour. Well, the truth is, until you look like a professional consulting firm and you have references and testimonials and project case studies and experience and actually implementing as a consulting firm and a consultant, then you need to charge lower rates because you're not equal to those who are experienced as a consultant. So what you could do is start out at, if $200 an hour is average for your industry for the type of consulting you do, start out at $80 an hour and just promise people you're going to work harder to deliver a ton of value to them. And then after you have 1 or 2 clients at $80 an hour, provide a larger solution to a bigger client and charge $120 an hour. And you can build up your client roster by raising your rates every 4 months, 6 months, or every 4 clients you get, you raise your rate by a little bit more. And eventually you could be very busy at $200 an hour. But the worst thing you could do is charge $200 an hour, or try to, never get the client, go out of business before you start. You'll have no momentum, no feedback from clients, no trust from clients, no experience, no case studies. That's the worst thing that can happen. So just charge enough that people take you seriously, that you can pay your bills, get that experience, get the ball rolling forward down the hill, get the momentum, and then you can be really successful. Another tip is to have a website and blog from day one. Define exactly what 2 or 3 niches you're going to approach. I wouldn't work just in one niche in case it goes out of flavor, or the trend ends or new compliance goes into place that stops you from being able to consult in that area. But I wouldn't go for 4 or 5 niches and say you're a consultant on everything under the sun. I think 2 or 3 is the right number, and you should have a website and a blog. Typically 1 blog, 1 website is enough, especially if you're starting out, that's complex enough. And just study a lot about persuasive writing and online marketing so your website is well received, looks professional, you're getting people to do some email opt-ins or participate in your webinars. And if your blog is really helpful on your niche topic that you consult on, you give away a lot of free advice there, people will find you online eventually, and you'll get consulting clients through there. I actually started my first consulting firm by accident by running a blog, and I started getting hundreds of emails a day and so many consulting requests that it just led me to naturally start my own consulting firm. So you don't have to do that to start your own, but it definitely can be a tool for developing new client leads and growing your kind of brand in the industry. The next tip is to make sure that basically when you work with new clients, that your scope is well defined and that your projects are well defined. Some people might want to hire you as a consultant with no real end goal, no milestones, no set contracts. You need to be somewhat professional and official about how you're doing business if you want to hold yourself out there as a consultant. You need to have a standard contract that you're going to use. You need to have terms of the contract, scopes of the project, deliverables, and you need to just study some of the books required within our training and certification program to really get a handle on what's expected by consulting clients, if they're really going to take you seriously, and if you're going to have a professional consulting business that thrives over the long term. So I hope these quick tips provide as a great supplemental resource to some of the books available on how to start your own consulting firm. These are lessons that I kind of learned while starting my own consulting firm. So hope you can benefit from them. Thank you for joining us here today. It's businesstraining.com, where you can earn master's level qualifications to help you make more money.